Hey Team Shuckle, what is up? Welcome back to another Team Analysis Tuesday. Today we are looking at the team that I used for the fall regionals, or the autumn regionals, for the 2015 season. And I also used this to get into Top Cut at a premiere event the week before the regionals, which was last week, I placed 7th in that. I went into Top Cut 4th in the tournament, so overall it's pretty good. So I'm going to hit play on this real quick so you guys can watch the team in action. But as you can see, we've started off with Rotom Heat. Now, Rotom Heat is one of those Pokemon that I really like on this team. It does really well. So it provides, some Will-O-Wisp support with the Will-O-Wisp, of course. Overheat, what's really cool about Overheat is that it one-hit KOs every single variant of Mega Mawile. So there's no Mega Mawile that is safe. The reason I use Rotom Heat is because I did need something for Amoonguss, I needed something for Venusaur, and while Mega Venusaur does resist, or I guess it is resist, Overheat, with safety goggles, there's really not much they can do to me, so that was basically Rotom Heat's purpose. But some pretty cool things is that, like I said, it one-hit KOs Mega Mawile. It two-hit KOs pretty much every single Megazard Y, which is really awesome. So that's Rotom Heat in a nutshell. There's not really much else to say. I don't know where I got the EV spread from. I couldn't find it, so I'm gonna just pretend I made it up. But I know I didn't. I don't know where I got it from. But yeah, not much else to say about Rotom Heat. Now, Scizor. Scizor is one of those weird Pokemon that came in at the very tail end of this team. Basically, the only reason Scizor is on the team is to give my team basically perfect coverage defensively. There is no overall weakness. Otherwise, I would be weak to Rock. But, I don't use it often. I don't need it. It's very minimal times where I'm like, I should bring Scizor to this battle. But it's weird. Speed IVs is partly due to laziness and partly due to it sounded like it would work. I already had a Scizor in my box that had 23 speed IV, and I looked it up. It speed ties with T-Tar, which I think is actually kind of crucial because from when I was making this team, special T-Tars were pretty common. So I kind of wanted to be able to outspeed it, or at least have a chance to outspeed it, and get the U-turn off, since Bullet Punch definitely wouldn't have one-hit KO'd it. It does provide very good priority. Bullet Punch is very strong. But like I said, I really don't bring it to matches. I brought it to one match in the regionals, and I brought it just because I didn't bring it. At that point, I was 4-4. I wasn't going to be making any Top Cut. So I was like, screw it, I'm here to have fun. So I brought Scizor. It actually ended up being pretty important, but I should have brought Gardevoir instead and I would have won. But that's a different story. So Scizor's really pointless. I was considering switching it out for Talonflame, which would be pretty cool, because Talonflame does have much stronger priority, and it's just in general a little bit more useful than Scizor is. But I don't really know yet. I'll have to test that out. So moving along, we've got Mega Kangaskhan, the star of the show. Now this thing is such a beast normally, but I think I made a really powerful one. So the EV spread was actually last minute Friday right before the regional. So I did not use this at the premiere event, but I had just a standard 252 spread on Kangaskhan. But what this spread allows me to do is survive an adamant max attack hammer arm from opposing Kangaskhan's. So it allows me to survive that, meaning that if I'm against a Kangaskhan, I can survive it and I can one-shot them back with my own hammer arm. The only way they can survive my hammer arm is if they're running my spread. Plain and simple. I calced it out as much as I can, and I figured it out, and I figured that this was the best set. Now, Double Edge pretty much one-hit KOs everything. What's really crucial about knowing the speed of this Kangaskhan is that it's faster than most Rotoms, who will attempt to whatchamacallit, burn you. So it's really crucial to know that you are faster than Rotom Washes. So if you see a Rotom Wash there, don't set up Trick Room, go straight for the Double Edge, knock it out. It's pretty much a guaranteed one-hit KO on every single one. Just do it. I've known this Kangaskhan to one-hit KO a bulky Zapdos. I've known it to one-hit KO pretty much anything with Double Edge. Hammer Arm one-hit KOs Hydreigon, and one-hit KOs anything weak. It one-hit KOs Mega Tyranitar. It's ridiculously powerful. Now, one of the moves that is the most arguably argued move on Kangaskhan is Crunch. The reason I run Crunch over Sucker Punch is A, I do not need the priority. I have Trick Room, I'm fast. Things who have priority tend to not scare my Kangaskhan anyway, so I'm not too worried. I survived Brave Bird, Choice Banded from Talonflame, so I'm not too worried about that. It's mainly there for the slower Ghosts and Gothitelle. It doesn't really one-hit KO those things, but it does do enough damage to scare them out. Aegis Slashes will substitute against a Kangaskhan. They won't even King Shield, so you just crunch, you know? It's good against, whatchamacallit, Gothitelle and Meowstic, because they're like, you're gonna Sucker Punch, so we're not gonna let you Sucker Punch, we're gonna, like, tickle you instead. So, it works really well for that reason. It also 2-hit KOs Shield Form Aegis Slash, which is pretty impressive. And especially if I have Trick Room up, they're going to be attacking first, so good luck, my friends. We survived their Flash Cannon, so, and their Sacred Sword, so it's just really good. It's really good, and I really did not need Sucker Punch. So moving on, we've got Gengar. Gengar is the Abbott to Kangaskhan's Costello. I don't know how many people get that reference, but he makes it so that I can pretty much get Trick Room up in almost any situation, and I love it because Gengar can survive pretty much every single move that is not doubled or super effective. So Hydreigon's Dark Pulse, I survive because of Focus Sash, and with the amount of with the 252 special attack and quiet nature, I do hit a lot of things really hard. Like Talonflames tend to Brave Bird Gengar to just get it out of the way, and then I Shadow Ball it, and the Talonflame goes down, which I love. And actually, as I say that, that is literally what just happened on screen. I'm gonna replay that actually, so you can see that happen again. But yeah, it's just so good, and it's like against common leads that have Fake Out. It works really well because, you know, people are going to fake out the Kangaskhan, and they're going to really try and get that Kangaskhan out of the way. But with Protect and Gengar, you know, they really don't have much of an option. So that's what I did, and that's why I love it. People were telling me to run Will-O-Wisp over Disable, but what I really like about Disable on this is that things like Charizard Y, they'll continuously spam Heat Wave against you, and I underspeed them, so I get that Disable off, they go for Heat Wave, they can't get it, and it's just beautiful. So moving on, we've got Gardevoir, the other Trick Room setter. Now I don't use Gardevoir as much to set Trick Room because while it is bulky, it isn't, you know, the greatest. It's not as powerful as Gengar. It's not guaranteed to survive every attack pretty much. But some cool things to note, it does survive Choice Banded, Adamant, Talonflame's Brave Bird 100% of the time. It does a lot of damage. It brings me down to about 5 to 10% of my HP, but it will survive it regardless. The Moonblast and the Psychic is just good coverage. Moonblast really helps me against Hydreigon, Scrafty, things like those. And the Psychic is really there for Venusaur and Amoonguss because, you know, I really don't want to be stuck in a position where I have to deal with Amoonguss and I don't have Goodra or Rotom Heat. So it's a good option. It's pretty bulky. It survives most super effective hits. Mega Gengar Sludge Bomb, Venusaur Sludge Bomb, Scissor's Bullet Punch, Aegis Slash's Flash Cannon. I think it survives Mega Lucario's Bullet Punch. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't actually calc that out, but I think it does. So that it's pretty cool. But you know, things like Mawile, you have no chance against. It will one-hit KO you even if it's burned. I've considered using Babiri, but I really like Citrus on this, so that's what I'm going to go for. So that's Goodra. That's Gardevoir, actually. Now we're on Goodra. Now Goodra is definitely one of my favorites on this team. I actually really like this whole team in general, except for that Scizor, because I don't use it. But Goodra, what's cool about Goodra is it's ridiculously bulky. So look at this. Let's look at this for a second. It survives non-banded Dragon Claw from Garchomp. It one-hit KOs Garchomp right back. On top of that, Specs, Modest Hydrogens, Draco Meteor, only one-hit KOs this Goodra 12% of the time. Think of that for a second. That is ridiculous. Only 12%. I love this thing. So, it's basically my dedicated rain counter. Rain counter, it also absorbs Sporb with Sap Sipper. And all that. It's just so lovely. It counters Aegislash very well with Flamethrower. It deals with other dragons somewhat well if I have Trick Room, because otherwise, you know, if I have taken damage, I won't be able to survive most of their attacks. But it just does really well, and I am very happy about that. So yeah, just very happy about that. There's not really much else to say about this team. It's just it got me to 7th at the Premier Challenge and the very lovely 188th at the regionals, but I wouldn't take that as, you know, a good indication of how well this team would do, because I didn't really do very well myself. I wasn't in the right mindset, I guess. But yeah, so just consider that this team is probably one of the best Trick Room teams that I've ever made. It has power. It works really well against Trick Room, and that's one of the stronger points on this team. When you're going against other Trick Room teams, it does phenomenally well against them, because most of the setters are weak to the Kangaskhan Gengar combo, and they're faster, so I can get rid of their Trick Room or take out the setter really quickly. It's also good against faster teams because, you know, you do get that Trick Room up. But yeah, and this team is very, 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 very specific in its speed tiers. Everything is... There's no negative nature except for Gengar, because I wanted to underspeed those base 100s. Simply because there are things that I do want to outspeed outside of Trick Room. And that's the sole reason why I'm doing it. I went against all of the speed tiers. I made sure that I was like, do I really need to outspeed this? Because if I don't need to outspeed this, I will go negative. But I was like, I want to outspeed it. So that's what I did. It pretty much handles the entirety of the metagame very well. I do believe I should switch out Scizor for Talonflame. That would give me a massive rock weakness, so it's something that I would have to consider. But if I have Trick Room up, most of the rock users are faster and one-hit KO'd by Kangaskhan, so it's not the end of the world. Plus, I could also use Rotom Wash. If I am using Talonflame probably can still get KOs on Mega Mawile, especially if I'm going to band it with Flare Blitz. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Mega Mawile was a huge threat to the beginnings of this team, so that's why I do have that Rotom Heat in there. So I might just keep Rotom Heat. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you feel free to use this team, like I said, it really is a lot better than the results from the regionals show. So don't take that into too much consideration. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys at the next episode. Peace.